What the Heart Wants. She sits and stares at her phone as she rides the bus into town. She thought these dating apps were just a waste of time, but here she was, off on a date on Valentine's Day of all days. Scrolling through the pictures of him, she can't help but feel apprehensive. Why would someone so good looking want to go on a date with her? She didn't think she was very pretty. She didn't think much of herself at all. But the heart wants what the heart wants, her mother always used to say. Just the way he spoke to her, the way he made her feel with just a message. Maybe he saw past the imperfections. Maybe he saw past those flaws that were all so prevalent to herself. She sighed a longing sigh. It had been so long since she had left her house for anything more than just work. So long since she had spoken to someone outside, in the real world. The closer and closer she got to her stop, the more and more her heart began to race. What if she got stood up? What if this was just some kind of cruel joke? Yet even though she was skeptical, she put as much effort as she could into her appearance. As soon as the bus comes to a stop and she gets off, her eyes are immediately drawn to the small Italian restaurant on the corner of the road. Her heart begins to pound in her throat as she walks towards it. Oh God, what was she doing? This was a mistake. She shouldn't be here. What was she thinking? She takes a moment, just standing by the front door, her mind racing a mile a minute. A message appears on her phone. I'm inside. I can't wait to see you. Her heart flutters. As she pushes open the door, she takes in the atmosphere from the low-lit room. She clutches her purse tight to her chest. She can't see him anywhere. She is just lost in the echoing mumbles of all of the other happy couples that surround her. The maitre d' approaches. She gives him her name. This is it. This is where she's going to be humiliated in front of everyone. But he comes back, smiling, and shows her to the table. There he is, her Prince Charming, her date, sitting there, as handsome as she could have ever imagined. Her cheeks blush red as he stands to greet her, handing her a single red rose. And the night goes just about as well as it could. She was nervous at first, reserved and shy. Yet as the night went on, she began to laugh. He began to laugh. It was perfect. The evening stretches on, and the two talk and talk and talk until finally they are the last two there. As he stands to go take care of the bill, she pushes herself. She internalizes all of her fears and blurts out that question she's been wanting to ask this entire time. The thing that she's been so desperate to ask.
Do you want to come back to mine?
They both stand there, frozen for a moment, until he smiles and says, okay. She's finally going to do it. She's finally going to do it after all of these years of longing. It isn't long before they're in the taxi back to her place, him holding her hand the entire way. God, she feels so alive. This is everything she could have dreamed of and more. They exit the taxi and stumble quietly up the driveway, making their way up the steps to her house. She fumbles with her keys and slowly unlocks the door. Turning to him, cheeks bright red, yet with a coolness and determination that she has made up her mind, she says,
After you.
He beams at her, and he steps over the threshold, and she slips in behind him, the door closing silently, the lock engaging with a deafening click. The blade she had meticulously laid out upon the table by the door was thrust deep within his back before he even had a chance to remove his coat. The rag in her pocket pressed into his mouth to muffle his screams as over and over again she plunged the knife into his spine. Droplets of blood trickle from the wounds and pitter-patter onto the sheets of plastic that cover the hallway floor. All it took was for one good man, one foolish, trusting, good man, to make all of her dreams come true. After all, the heart wants what the heart wants.